Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Biggerplate.com. I've been asked by our friends at Mind Manager to share some ideas about the ways mind mapping could be used by primary school students. And so what I've got here are a few ideas that I'm hoping teachers, parents and students themselves could start to explore immediately. So let's take a look. Before we get started, the first and most important thing to say here is that you don't necessarily need any software to start making creative use of mind mapping at school. Everything I show you here could be done in simpler form, just using pens and paper or a whiteboard, of course. But it's worth noting that hand-drawn mind mapping can get messy quite quickly, and perhaps even leave some students a bit frustrated because they can't easily change where things are or how things look on the page. This can also result in mind maps that don't necessarily help with creating that clear visual summary of information that we're aiming for. When it comes to mind mapping software, most young students are immediately excited to use the colors and the images to make things more interesting for themselves, but perhaps more importantly, the software gives them much greater freedom and flexibility to explore ideas, to edit, move, and change things as they wish. Importantly, no matter how much they move, change, and experiment, the software helps to ensure that the end product is still something well structured and coherent at the end, which is obviously going to be more beneficial to the student. The role of adults in this process can, as always, be critical to how successful a student is when first exploring mind mapping. And a common idea that I want to show you here is that the teacher, or perhaps a parent, could help students in many ways by simply providing a starting point in a mind map and the core structure of information upon which the student can then build and expand with their own ideas and thinking. By doing this, you help to create some information boundaries that keep students maybe focused in the right areas, but you also give them the freedom to build out their own ideas and thinking using the expansive mind map canvas. Finally, if you're going to try and introduce mind mapping to younger students or to your own children, then start simple. Don't necessarily get them working on an academic subject straight away, partly because that will feel like schoolwork. Instead, you might perhaps encourage them to create a mind map about themselves, their friends, their family, their ideal vacation, or something else that maybe won't feel like work, but gives them a low intensity entrance into this way of working. In this video, I'm going to focus on just two particular use cases for mind mapping in primary school context: subject summaries and written assignments, with some obvious overlap between the two. So let's take a look at those next. Subject summary mind maps are a great way for students to show and explore what they know about a particular topic, and also serve as a great way for teachers to see how a student understands and thinks about a topic, including where the knowledge gaps may be and how well the student grasps both the big picture and the smaller details of a subject. This type of mind map is great for homework assignments, classroom posters, and even presentations. So let's take a look at how these might work. Let's imagine we're teaching a class about space, and we want our students to think about what they already know by building a mind map themselves about space. You could let the students start with a totally blank canvas, but instead, why not provide a few simple start points to prompt their thinking? For example, in advance of the class, we could create 4 headings in a mind map: objects, people, future, and questions. And this could form the basis of a template that we're going to give to students to build out. You may find it useful to actually go one step further with the structure you provide. For example, we could break objects down into natural and man-made to help prompt thinking about what's out in space. Similarly, under people, we could create 2 subcategories of real and imaginary, so that students are prompted to think about the difference of real-life people in space versus science fiction. So now you have a very basic mind map template for students to work with. And if you provide this template, you can simply encourage them to build onto this structure with their own ideas and thinking. It's a good idea at this point to stress that they don't need to write full sentences into the mind map and can use just 1 or 2 words at a time as they develop their ideas, like so. This can be very liberating for students by removing the pressure to write well or think about grammar at this stage. Instead, it's allowing them to just focus on thinking and showing what they know, using just a couple of words at a time. As the mind map takes shape and develops, you may find that students kind of like to focus in a certain area or another based on their sort of preference or where they know most. But as the teacher or parent, you can use the mind map structure visually to prompt students gently. For example, you might note that they haven't added anything over on the future branch and encourage them with some maybe new ideas or prompts, such as, well, how do you think we'll be living in the future? Or how do you think we'll be traveling in the future? That might give them some inspiration and help to build out that map in a more balanced way. At primary school level, what most students will enjoy straight away with mind mapping software is the ability to get creative with how their mind maps look as they capture their ideas and their thinking. If we look at a more developed, built out version of our space mind map, you'll see how students could perhaps start to add images into the mind map, using perhaps the image library that's within the software here, or of course by finding images on the internet and then pulling those into the mind map canvas. Students can also get creative with the colors in the mind maps, for example, on individual topics or entire branches. They can also make changes to the text, the font, the size, the colors within the topics, and they can even go as far as to change the background color or add images into the background of their mind map. The key thing is that whilst they can express themselves and enjoy the creativity of the tools, the structure of information is still really helping them to create good quality summaries of the topics that they're learning. The final result of a student adding their ideas and knowledge into a mind mapping structure, plus the creative freedoms provided by the mind map software, might create an output that looks something like this that hopefully students can feel proud of as an outcome. Starting from just a simple set of prompts, the student built out something that feels unique to them, whilst also giving teachers and parents a great summary view of how they think about a topic and what they know. Hopefully you can see in this quick example that no matter what the subject or what age the pupil is, mind mapping can give them a great way to literally show what they know in a single visual summary. In addition to creating subject summaries, mind mapping software is also fantastic for students when planning and developing written assignments. Rather than jumping straight into their writing and figuring out what they want to say as they write, encouraging students to pause and create mind maps in advance can help them to literally map out their thoughts, ideas, and even chunks of their actual writing in advance of committing to that piece of paper or the written document. When using mind mapping software, students have the added bonus of being able to easily move, edit, and reorder the information once they have a sense of what needs to be involved, so that they can see how it might all fit together in the most logical structure. This way of working is great for things like book reports, writing essays, science reports, and almost any other type of written assignment you can think of. Let's take a look at how some of those mind maps might look. For a book report, just like our space mind map, we could create a template mind map with the basic headings for a student to build upon, as you can see here. We've used some of the same creative options with images and colors to create something a little bit more engaging for students, and now they can start to build onto that core structure. We always encourage people to build and read mind maps clockwise, starting in this top right position and then working around as if looking at a clock face. This can be a helpful reference point when structuring mind maps for students or helping students to build their own from scratch. A great feature to leverage in something like this is the Notes feature within software, which enables you to add additional guidance or prompts into the mind map to help the student as they work, but the notes are easily accessible without cluttering up the mind map with lots of additional text. You can see just by hovering over the little icon here, I can see a little bit of a prompt to help me with my thinking, or I can click it and open it up to really see the full extent of the prompting there. If we were writing a book here on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we could start first by adding the key characters to the mind map and maybe a little bit of information about each one. Depending on the age of the pupil, the level of detail required in the mind map will obviously vary, but the process is the same. We're still not getting them to build out a written document, but just start to help them think and create that kind of scaffolding for the written document to come later. Next, we might add some information about the setting and then some notes on the story itself, prompting the student to think about what the key events were and what conclusion the story reached. We're still focused on capturing just a few words at a time rather than writing entire sentences, and the levels of detail here and how far the map expands will again depend on the age group involved and how much detail and depth is required. Next, moving clockwise around the mind map, we might start to capture what we as the reader actually felt about the book, whereas the right side of the mind map is mainly helping students to capture factual information about what happened. On this side of the mind map, we might write what we liked about the book. For example, the very idea of a chocolate factory was pretty exciting as a kid, and the idea that behaving right gets you the rewards in the end might be some things that we liked about the book. In dislikes, we might take issues with the labor rights of Oompa Loompas, or point out that allowing overweight children to be sucked into the pipework of a chocolate lake seems like one of many health and safety oversights that the book highlights. Finally, we've got some space for a conclusion that encourages students to think about how they wrap up their book report. Again, we might use that notes function to just give them some little prompts about what they might want to include in that conclusion. Building out a mind map like this will often feel quite easy for students actually, and often not even feel like real work, even though what's actually happening is they're having to think and capture key information and ideas in a structured way that can then be used as a guide and a prompt when it comes to the often more dreaded task of writing out a written report. The mind map could even be shared with the teacher alongside the written assignment to show that the student understood the story and the key concepts. This could be useful for students who perhaps struggle with the written exercises themselves. In addition, just like our subject summary mind map for space, this book report plan map will act as a great memory prompt for students to revisit later in the year, perhaps when asked to reflect on all of the different books that they have read throughout the school term. Using a mind map to plan a science report or other type of written assignment would work in much the same way, with some key established topic headings perhaps providing the framework for students to build out their ideas and the key information, but in a more flexible format rather than jumping straight into the written document. Using the mind map to organize their ideas and their information before writing will almost always improve the written piece that comes next. Finally, in some cases, students can actually do the writing itself in the mind map, and then use a great feature within the software to send that map into a Microsoft Word document automatically. This means they can leverage the flexibility and adaptability of mind mapping software like Mind Manager to help them figure out what they want to say and in what order before sending that information over to Microsoft Word for the final editing and printing work. Let's return to our topic of space and imagine we're a primary school student being asked to write an essay about the future of humans and space following the well-known 5-paragraph essay format. Rather than stare at the daunting blank page of a Microsoft Word document, I'm instead going to use this bare bones mind map as my start point. Of course, I also have my previously created subject summary mind map to help prompt my thinking, and I might jump back across there to just see what I was thinking previously when we were talking about this subject, and therefore what I might want to include in my essay. So now, using that map to prompt my thinking, we can start to throw ideas, and now in this instance, perhaps more complete sentences into our mind map to start building out what we might say, even if we're not 100% sure what we will or won't include in the final piece. In this example mind map, I've deliberately avoided using any color or images because I want to show how this would all be about organizing the ideas and the written work, rather than making something that looks nice. You can see how as the half sentences and little keywords here and there build out a little bit further, I could as a student easily return to any of them individually, edit them, flesh them out more, improve the language or the writing or the sentence structure, and perhaps most importantly, I can easily experiment with the order of those written sections, moving them around the mind map individually or even in pairs, whilst keeping a clear view of how that all fits into a hopefully increasingly coherent total picture. Once my planning process is complete, I should have a mind map that essentially shows the contents of my essay, but in a structured mind map that you can read clockwise on the screen. In this quick example, I have just 2 or 3 sentences for each paragraph, and they're not exactly groundbreaking insights, but obviously there's no limit to how much can be included in a mind map like this. I've got my ideas organized in a way that I'm happy with, and I'm now ready to turn this into a written document that can be submitted to my teacher. Within the Mind Manager menu, if I now choose Export to Word, the software can turn this well-structured mind map into a nearly finished written document, working clockwise around the map and pulling all of this information into a Word document. Once I open the exported Word document, you can see that the structure of the document mirrors what I created in the mind map, and the document is therefore 95% ready. All the hard work was done in the mind mapping software that makes it easier to brainstorm and develop your ideas and sentences. And now the only job to do in Word is the final review and editing. So there you have it, a quick look at the ways mind mapping software can help primary school students to be creative in showing and developing what they know, and how teachers and parents can create simple template mind maps that can help them get started. If you want to learn more about mind mapping in schools, then we've got plenty of templates, webinars, and additional resources at biggerplate.com. If you want to start using mind mapping software in your own school or with the primary school learners in your life, then head over to mindmanager.com where you can download a free trial of this fantastic, easy to use software. Thanks for watching.